Yo, what is up, Crocs and Clan members, Elysian League fans, and others who some puns video. I'm SoresanCrockxen with Week 6 previews of the Elysian Draft League Season 7. It's going to be a tough week for a lot of these players. Some of them are trying to set foot in that playoff spot. Some of them are trying to get out of rut. And some of them are just like, oh, well, whatever, this season's over anyways. So I'm definitely looking forward to a lot of these matches. There's definitely a couple in there that are definitely going to be like matches of the week. And there's some matches in there that are kind of like, hey, I can do this. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting off our previews this week, we have Zhu versus Zen. So first of all, I just want to say congratulations to Zhu. Like, your battle against Will, like you brought that close. Like, Will is one of the best battlers we have in the league, and you brought it down to a 3-0 respectively. I gotta give you props for that. Zen has been on a whole other game recently. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's playing phenomenally. You have answers to some of his premier threats: Landorus T, Magearna, Charizard X. You know, his hard hitters. You know, with Weavile, you have Mega Blastoise, and then you have Entei. You know, these mons can definitely put in the hurt. But it's Zen, and he's been playing a lot of these lower tier mons ridiculously well. I don't know how. But like Substrika is one of his premier like switch advantage and like hard hitters from in the beginning of the battles. You have freaking Kamala yawning things to death, and then you have things like Meowstic Male, who's setting up screens and also paralyzing mons that it needs to paralyze, and even trying to set up itself and try to hit as hard as it can before it has to go down. And I don't see you having the right mons to be able to handle a lot of the things that Zen could throw at you. So Volley, with the whole parting shot shenanigans and all of that stuff, like, it's gonna be a tough matchup. And because you're still, I still think you're new. I mean, obviously you have a little bit more experience now than you did when you started off last season, but you're still too new to compete with some of the things that Zen has been pulling off. But if you have maybe something like Sleep Talk Entei, Choice Bandit, then you might have a chance there. Or, catch him off guard type of stuff. Like, if you're able to do things and have sets that can catch him off guard, then I think you have a chance to lower the differential. I don't think you'll win, but I think you can really like push him to his limits if you have these weird wonky sets on your mons that are able to throw him off, But Zen, I believe you're going to get a 3-0 victory here. Zhu is slowly getting, better, and I think she's improving. And like I said to her, like, if she's able to like pull off some crazy stuff, you're definitely going to be caught off guard. But at the end of the day, I still think you're going to win. And a 3-0 is nothing to scoff at either. Now, Zach versus Matrix is not actually happening this week because Matrix is on a vacation. So he's actually not going to be able to play for the next like 3 weeks or something like that. I already talked to him and I made a deal with him. He's going to be doing all his battles when he comes back. So he's going to be doing week 6, 7, and 8 together, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that because we were able to talk about it before he left. So I'm not going to do like a full-blown preview for this one. I think what I'm going to do is that when he comes back and he does all his battles at once, I'll do like commentary over each one and like more of our thoughts of what I expected beforehand and how the battle turned out. Cupchew versus Kraft. Now this one is a little bit more interesting in terms of team matchup, but I feel like I need to set the record straight. Kraft is not in his A game right now. Kraft has, like, the past couple weeks, he hasn't really been feeling himself, and he's kind of in a slump. I do want to let him know that we are here for him, Kraft. If you ever need to talk, my DMs are open for whatever you need. So, like, because of this, first of all, I didn't even know if Kraft is going to be able to battle. I hope he's able to, right? Because I don't want him to just have to drop out because of, I mean, obviously, if he has to, right? If he truly needs to, like, we can work something out. But either way, I still, like, at the end of the day, it's what's best for him, right? If he needs a break, that's fine. I think we have one more person that was looking to participate, so we can just have him come in if needed. If he does battle, even though like his team matchup is good, and Scolipede is probably the biggest threat that he has on his team right now against Cupchew, because he doesn't really have too big of an answer for it. Besides like maybe Kadabra, but even Kadabra's not going to be doing much after, at least after a speed up. It's not going to be able to do much there. So I feel like if Kraft was at his peak, if he was able to like truly come in, he was definitely would be able to take this with the mons he has. But just because of what's been happening recently, I feel like Cupchew, if the battle happens, Cupchew will get like maybe like a 2-0, 3-0 victory. But if Kraft is able to like kick back and like just come in as he normally is, I think he could get a solid like a 3-0, 4-0 victory on Cupchew. Because Cupchew's also kind of been in a slump recently, but that's just because his sets are weird and he doesn't come in prepared, and maybe he has the wrong item or wrong moves on his Pokemon and kind of makes him lose. But at the end of the day, like, it just depends on whether the battle even happens at all. So I can't really truly predict of what's going to happen here, and I don't know the moods of these players at this point in time. So I'm just going to leave it open. Alright, last but not least, in the Rainbow Rocket Conference, we have Yodeler versus Sabacarp. Once again, this is one of those things where, again, Sabacarp, find yourself a friend to do some team building, do some practicing. As I mentioned in the matches video from last week, I'm always available. Well, if you let me know ahead of time, I am usually available to practice. Yodeler is one of the ones that always comes to me. And that's not a deterrent that this week, you know, since you're facing Yodeler, you don't want to do that. I don't really share anything. I give you like, I don't remember what season it was, but the two people that were facing each other both asked me for advice and asked me for help, and I gave them general ideas of what I expected the other player to use, even though they both practiced with me and they both team build with me. I tried to avoid secrets and all that stuff. So even though Yodeler's probably going to ask me this week as well, you're free to do as well. I'm not going to expose anything. I'm just going to give general advice of what I expect or how I would run some certain sets, or how I would run some certain moves and stuff like that. But just because, I mean, Yodeler right now is still undefeated. Like, he's the only one in the... He's only one of two players right now who are undefeated in the league right now, which is him and Saigai. Each one representing the top of their own conferences. He has a very solid team. He has a great, like, 3 regen core with Tornadus, Slowking, and Amoonguss. All mons that you don't really have too many answers for yourself. Like, they each do different things, even though they're all part of the same regen core. They all do different things. Tornadus being an offensive special attacker, mixed attacker, physical attacker. It could be either one. Slowking being more of a special wall and tank, and then you have Amoonguss who's just a straight up wall. It's weird because, like, Trick Room right now in this particular battle is not as viable as it normally would be in other matches, because a lot of his mons, although they look fast, most of them tend to be on the slower, bulkier side, and then he obviously has priority with a lot of these mons. So it's not really like it wouldn't be like a slam dunk for you to just run Trick Room like you normally do it, because it's in this scenario, it's probably not going to work as you want it to. You have Amoonguss with slow, Mega Steelix, you have Linoon with priority, Hariyama hits really, really hard, Florges, Slowking, all these mons are relatively slow. Darmanitan, Tornadus, and Greninja are his only really fast mons. He does have the ability to set up with like an agility on Haxorus. I think it also gets Dragon Dance. He does have that, but in all seriousness, I don't think that should deter you from just running bulk. I think this in this scenario, besides the Haxorus, if you run a more bulky offensive team this time around, he does have a little bit of a problem with, because like he only has one, potentially now 2 really hard wall breakers in Haxorus and Darmanitan, both of which are physical attackers, and you have like some of the best physical defensive mons in the game with Slowbro, Milotic, and Umbreon. And even Claydol is able to at least tank some hits from Darmanitan. Not too many, but at least it's a thing you can do. In this, like, for this battle in particular, it's going to be tough either way, because Yodeler has been doing so well, and he has so many things that he can do, which is why I still think he's going to win. I'm leaning towards a 4-0 victory here. But if you're able to, like, bulk him out properly, I think you do have a shot here. If you're able to maybe, like, if you take down his hard hitters with Darmanitan and Haxorus, then you should be fine. For the most part, like, that's a good strategy. Like, if you're able to take those two down, then your more bulky offensive mons, or maybe in this scenario you go more of a tank sets, then you might have a chance to like lower the differential a lot more than that. But at the end of the day, it all depends on whether you're able to take down those mons at the appropriate times and you have the right moves. I like, innovation is cool, but sometimes it doesn't work. I'm not saying go full on standard. I think you can have variety of moves, but more so moves that actually correlate to the Pokemon. Like Mega Mawa with Incinerate was a little weird when you have other options like Fire Fang, and I think it gets Fire Punch. Don't quote me on that, but those physical moves work better on a physical attacker than a special attack like Incinerate. Alright, starting off the Ultra Recon Squad Conference, we have Nick versus EAG. Now, Nick was able to take a victory last week. Very, very proud of him for that. EAG, unfortunately, had to take a loss. He's been losing to a lot of the top players in the conference. You know, Saigai, Infinite, Jack. The better, more than likely, the better players here. I was looking at this. Obviously, EAG's been playing a lot more bulky, stall-oriented with the mons he has. Nick, for the most part, has a bulky offensive team. I know Joey brought that up in the last video, Trick Room. I've always been a big fan of it, but bulky offense works. This one is kind of weird. He does have some really good wall breakers with Emboar and Zygarde, even Mega Camera to an extent. Zygarde this time has to pick his poison though, because we have Sylveon and Mamoswine, both two mons that can really hurt Zygarde. Most of the time, Mamoswine really likes to run Focus Sash, which in this scenario would actually benefit it because it can hit Zygarde with Icicle Crash first, or even Icicle Spear. I actually want to see an Icicle Spear Mamoswine here because it pops the Jotchi Berry if he does have it, and if it doesn't, well then you still kill it regardless. But Mamoswine's attack stat is ridiculously high. So it's gonna be an interesting match. I'm really interested to see how they're gonna each play individually because they both have like really bulky Pokemon here. Like they have EAG has Salazzle and Blossom, who isn't like bulky, but it has setup. And like the thing is, Nick doesn't really have too many fast Pokemon. In fact, I don't see any fast Pokemon besides Excelgor, and Excelgor has way too much competition here because Mega Aggron, Sylveon, a little Muck to an extent. All these Pokemon is not going to be doing too much against it. Dragalge, Electros. So I don't know exactly how to judge this battle particularly, because it's bulk versus bulk. This is going to be a long battle regardless, and I don't know how I would judge it properly. EAG, obviously, he has beaten some of the lower ended players in the conference, people that have basically losing streaks, or on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of like the win-loss ratio. So in theory, he could beat Nick because he does have a losing, a pretty high losing streak. But I don't know. I don't really know here. This could be the rise of Nick for all I know. If he's able to use this team better, this could be his chance to shine. And yeah, so I don't know. It's a toss-up for me. It could be a 2-0 victory on either side. It could be a 3-0 victory on either side. I really don't know. It just depends on whose walls stand better at the end of the day. Next up, we have Saigai versus Super Shy Guy. Tongue Twisters. Jesus. This one's going to be fun. Saigai obviously is undefeated. He's the other undefeated person in the league right now. For the Ultra Recon Conference, he's the only one that's undefeated. Super Shy Guy has been doing phenomenally well. I'm very, very proud of him. He's only lost to Will, who was one of the better players, who's still like one of the best players in the league right now this season. And this one's going to be a lot of fun, though. I see a lot of hyper offensive mons here. I really like it. This is going to be a fast-paced battle. You have Zeraora, Suicune. Suicune's not really fast, but it hits really, really hard. You have Kyurem, Palossand, who's been doing a lot of work. Superior, if he's able to get it off. Mega Diancie is a freaking monster. But then you look at Super Shy Guy's team. He's got Mew, Hydreigon with the Z Crystal, a Mega Beedrill, him on top, which is very, very good. Porygon 2 to wall out some stuff. Tapu Bulu, who hits like a motherfucking truck. This is good. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited for this one. So, normally I would be like, oh, well, this mon walls this mon, this mon walls this mon. But, like, damn, like, this is going to be one of those battles where I have no idea where the battle's going to go. Obviously, Mega Beedrill is still one of the fastest Pokemon in existence. So, like, I was, like, looking at this, and, like, Zeraora is barely slower than Mega Beedrill by like 2 points, which is ridiculous. Obviously, base stats wise, I'm not over here I'm not gonna look at fucking not that whole max speed crap. I'm not doing none of that crap. But like they're both very very fast mons. It's one of those things where like, ooh, whose fastest mon's gonna go down first? But this time there is a kind of counter to Mega Beedrill. Moltres is just chilling. Like right there, like there's nothing Beedrill like maybe after like maybe a knockoff, right? You go for knockoff ones. Moltres lives. I believe it has flame body. I'm pretty sure that's the ability it got, which is whatever. I don't know why the legendary like trios, all like these trio Pokemon, like they got some of the weirdest like secondary abilities ever. I have no clue why they did this. So I just looked it up. It is flame body. So it's one of those things where, do you really want to risk that? Because like if your Mega Beedrill gets status, that's just over. Like that's one of your hard hitting ones. And I don't see. Wait, does Munich? I'm trying to sit here. Does Mew get Heal Bell? Because if it does, then you're fine. I guess that's okay because you can just heal it up and do all the shit you need to do. But overall, like I'm like super looking forward to this one. Saigai, obviously, I'm gonna say has the advantage here because he, as at this moment in time, is still undefeated, and like he's able to deal with a lot of these the quote unquote walls on Super Saigai's team. Like Serperior, if it starts setting up after Mega Beedrill is dead, there's really not too many answers for it. I guess like Lycanroc and to some extent can do a little bit of damage there. But like Leaf Storm, and then you have your, probably like a hidden power poison, or maybe ice, and then like a random fourth move. I really have no idea what kind of move sets. I know Serperior doesn't have the best coverage, but it has a decent amount of moves that it can utilize if needed. He could also just go for the Subseed set that he's been using recently. And like the thing is, like normally like I see Quagsire who has Unaware, but you're not gonna beat Serperior 1v1. Like there's just no fucking way. Normally, if you have a mon with Unaware and you see your opponent has a mon that sets up like Serperior or mons like that, you're like, oh, well, I'll just throw in my Unaware Pokemon. You can't do that this time. There's just no way. You're going to die. You're literally, like, one Leaf Storm, you're fucking gone. So this is going to be interesting. Both teams have ways to have hazards on the field and have ways to get rid of hazards. So that's one of those who keeps their hazards up on the field the most. And I think that might be the deciding factor. Either way, I still see like a 2-0 victory on either side. I don't know who to go for here. You could theoretically go lean on Saigai because he is undefeated at this point. But not everybody has an undefeated streak. In fact, in this league, we've only ever had one, and that was Aggron, who went undefeated the entire season, including the playoffs. Like, he won the league completely undefeated. There was one other player that almost made it, but he actually lost round 1 of playoffs, which was Zach. Not the Zach that's currently in, the original Zach. He went undefeated the whole season, and then playoffs, he lost like round 1, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so both players, very, very solid, very, very good. Super Shy Guy only has 1 loss under his belt, and it's like what was considered the best player in this conference before Shy Guy dethroned him. So now he's going up against the number 1 player again, but the new one. So interesting matchup. Maybe Shy Guy, this is his chance to be dethroned and go from there. I believe if Super Shy Guy wins this one, he's gonna like move up in the rankings. But I still think that Infinite is gonna be the number. Like if Infinite wins his, obviously, then he's gonna be the number 1 of the conference. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. And speaking of this, as soon as I say Infinite, if Infinite wins, he's gonna be number 1 in the conference. He's facing Will. We got Infinite versus Will. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my damn. This battle. This battle. It's gonna be fun. Obviously, the one thing I always say about Will is his damn motherfucking Como. But Infinite has one thing that doesn't care. It's not scared of it at all. His name is Klefki. Klefki laughs in the face of Como. It might get an earthquake. It might get some random ground move. But all I know is that if Klefki gets up a Magnet Rise, that Como is not doing jack shit. And it also has access to taunt. And, well, I think it gets taunt. Maybe it does. I have no clue. Well, I don't know. It does get Thunder Wave. It gets screen support. Like, Klefki is going to be the nuisance of that Como. For the first time, I can be like, yeah, Como has a check. I was gonna say counter, but there's no way Klefki is a fucking counter. But it is a check. Scarf Nidoking has been putting in a lot of work for Infinite. It doesn't hit as hard as, you know, a regular Life Orb, Sheer Force boosted, all that stuff. But Scarf Nidoking isn't terrible. Like, it still hits relatively hard with its stab moves, and it, you know, it makes its lackluster speed viable, and it still keeps the coverage it normally would get. It just has to switch out if you can't hit the opponent. But there's a lot of things there. He does have the one true Tapu Koko counter, the perfect check and counter to Tapu Koko with Alolan Marowak. Obviously, there's a lot of other ones out there. You're like, yeah, Tapu Koko gets walled by this thing, but no, Alolan Marowak just completely laughs and spits in the face of Tapu Koko. It's ridiculous. So this one's gonna be a lot of fun. I do like what I'm seeing. Will's a little kind of bleeding recently. You know, he lost to Psy Guy, and then he barely was able to clutch it out versus Zhu, who's on, like, I'm sad to say, you know, on the lower end of the skill spectrum. So he's definitely bleeding right now. And Infinite, I feel like, can take full advantage of that. If he's able to set up his Manectric, who's like I'm pretty sure Manectric is like faster than Tapu Koko. I don't know why I do this to myself. I definitely need to start looking this shit up. Before I start talking shit. But yeah, Mega Manectric is faster than Tapu Koko. And I don't see too much on Will's team that can safely switch in on it. You have Flamethrower for the Scizor. You have HP Ice for the Nidoqueen and the Gligar. You know, and then you have your, obviously, Volt Switch and whatever other shenanigans you might get on there. You know, Scizor is definitely going to be a little bit of a problem, though, because it does have the priority Bullet Punch. But Starmie kind of walls it at this point. I don't know how Starmie got so good. And last week, I know that I saw that Infinite used Reflect type, which is ridiculous because it's able to put off. If he's able to pull that off on the right Mon, it's over. Like, that's just crazy. How do you do that? Why would you? I mean, it's a solid move, obviously. And then, obviously, you have Seismitoad that can definitely take care of Mega Scizor. There's no questions about it. Virizion can probably set up and do some damage. Arcanine's definitely going to be a problem for it, because Arcanine, like, he's been using more of a, like, a support Arcanine, which is not bad. Like, that's one of the benefits of Arcanine, at least in League, is that it has so many different variety of options it can use. You can physical, special, attacker, or you can have defensive or especially defensive Arcanine. Either one works. Like, he's very good at that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles the Arcanine. Like, he doesn't really have too many answers besides, like, the Starmie. And maybe Nidoking is able to, like, bring it in properly. But, like, you don't want to switch in, like, I would say Seismitoad. But Seismitoad, it depends on, like, if he's going for, like, the wall variant. You don't want it poisoned or Will-O-Wisp, because then your Earthquakes are not going to do shit. I mean, you can still use Scald, but then your, like, primary ground type option against Tapu Koko is gone. So it's going to be really, really fun. It's really interesting. And I can't wait to see. Because of the circumstances of what's been happening recently, I don't feel comfortable, like, fully going after one person and being like, yeah, this guy's going to win. Because it all depends. Like, if Will shakes off what happened the last 2 weeks, he could easily 6-0 Infinite. Like, easily. Because that's just, I mean, he's a really talented player and he has the monster that are able to do that. But at the same time, if Infinite is able to play his game, he's only lost once. And it was the Super Shy Guy, who, again, like, this conference, I think, is the better of the two, like, in terms of skill level. So, like, it's not a bad loss at all. And, like, Will's only lost to Shy Guy, which, again, is not a bad loss. So both players have lost to really good players. So I don't know how to feel about this. Will might be able to pull off the complete counter sweep. I don't know. But either way, this is my match of the week. I am looking forward to this match over any other match this week. So both of you, give me some hype, give me some excitement, and you better let me know when you have this battle, because I'm going to be in there. No matter what, I will be in there. I'm going to be at Universal Studios this weekend. I'm going to be in the roller coaster watching this fucking battle. Okay? So you let me know because I'm going to be there. And last but not least, in the Ultra Recon Squad Conference, we have Jack versus Nox. This one, again, Jack is like the unfortunate player this season. Like, he has the worst fucking luck in the history of this league. I swear. There's just no way. There's just no fucking way. This man, like, I feel bad for him. Obviously, this is one of those, the wall breakers versus the walls. Who's going to win? Can the walls do what they need to do? Who knows? Obviously, this time Jack does not have T-Spikes, so he does not have the ability to wear down some of these mons a little better than in the past. But he does have the wall breakers. Like, he has Jirachi, Gliscor, in a way, can be... Like, Gliscor's a stall breaker. He's not a wall breaker. He's a stall breaker. So there's a key difference between the two. Primarina is a great wall breaker. Mega Sharpedo, Infernape, Snorlax, if it has a chance to set up. It's ridiculous. So, I'm very looking forward to this battle. I want to see a more varied Jirachi. I feel like he's really reliant on physical, and like there's a lot of physical things that, like, there's a lot of mons in here that can deal with the physical set. I want to see more of the special variant this time around. I want to see special Jirachi. You could still have U-turn and maybe like another physical move, but I want you to go more special oriented this time around. Obviously, you need to have a couple things with taunt. You know, mainly your Gliscor, your Alolan Persian, Infernape, you know, mons like that. Stack Attack is going to be a very viable option here as soon as Vaporeon is dead, because there's not too many things in here that can really properly deal with it, except for, like, you got to be careful for that damn, Trapinch, which has been using very solidly recently. And, I don't know why. I don't know how. This thing is definitely not going to be tier 6 next season. There's no fucking way. It hits way too hard for a tier 6 Pokemon. Like, and an NFE Pokemon. Like, not even an NFE. This shit is a fucking Little Cup Pokemon. Little Cup Ubers, because I'm pretty sure they're not allowing that shit in regular Little Cup. But, point stands, it hits really, really hard. So, you're going to have to play around it. Don't let your mons get trapped by it. Because that's one of the fun things about Trapinch, is that, because it's a stall team, if you have a mon that can trap the mons that stop the stall teams and gets rid of that said mon, then you should, like Jirachi, it can trap it, go for Earthquake. Stack Attack, it can stop it, go for Superpower. Stuff like that. You know, you don't want to have to deal with this type of shenanigans. Obviously, Snorlax should probably go more immunity this time around. There's not really like too many. I mean, Pyroar, I guess. Also, just as a precaution, have a fucking, what's it called? Damn it, just as a precaution, you should have an Asper Berry, at least on Snorlax, because, to prevent just setup. Or maybe, obviously, if you don't want to go directly Asper Berry, go for like a Lumberry or whatever, because he does have a mon that can freeze you, and Vaporeon and has access to Ice Beam. I just don't want to see you get frozen again, my guy. So this is going to be a lot of fun. If Jack doesn't get hacks to death, obviously, that's the main thing here. Then it should be a good battle. It's going to be a really fucking long battle, because not only does Jack take like 5 billion years to make a move, he's facing full stall. So, it's going to be a little bit of a battle. I'm not watching this live. There's no fucking way I'm not. Jack, I love you, man. I do, but there's no fucking way I'm ever watching one of your live battles again this season. I can't, especially this week. If anybody actually goes out of their way to watch your battle live, they're masochists, I swear. But because of the nature of what's been happening, just like with a lot of the other battles, Jack, like I said, Jack has been hacked to death this whole entire season. So, in theory, I can say that he could win unless something like that happens. So I'm going to throw a toss up here. I'm going to say if Jack doesn't get hacks to death, I'm going to give him the 2-0 victory. If Jack gets hacks to death, I give Nox the 4-0 victory. Last but not least, in the cross-conference matchup, we have Jay versus Alfonso. Alfonso versus Jay. Whichever way you want to say it. This one is kind of depressing. Mainly because, I mean, Jay didn't draft his team. He did get one of the mons he had requested, which was Empoleon. But, like, I just see nothing but Pheromosa fodder. Straight up. I do not see too many options here. Ampharos can take a hit, but it can't, like, it's a risk. Because, like, obviously U-turn is always a thing. I was also trying to calc some special variations to see, because, you know, Buzzwole is there, and Buzzwole's able to take as many hits as it needs to from physical Pheromosa, because it doesn't get too many things besides, like, bounce, but, like, bounce is just, like, a bad move, because there's so many switches to that. So I was like, damn, this matchup looks very, very annoying, because, you know, there's just not too many options here. Obviously, if Pheromosa is dead, then the battle becomes a little bit easier, but it's still not completely there, because, you know, the circuitry is there. Mega Houndoom is always a problem. He doesn't have too many switch-ins for that. Like, besides, like, Rotom Wash, but if he decides to bring, like, a Sunny Day Solar Beam set, then it's pretty much a good game. Like, there's too many things on Alfonso's team that do a lot of work. I was thinking, you know, what if he goes, like, Lycanroc is a good check, potentially, but it doesn't do enough to Pheromosa to kill it, with a Cellrock, even if it is choice banded, and then, like, Garchomp's just a free switch in at that point. So it's kind of one of those things where there's going to be a lot of mind games, but I feel like if the Pheromosa goes down at any point in the game, then it's going to be one of those things where I feel like Alfonso will kind of falter a little bit. Obviously, Pheromosa is late game Pokemon anyway, so I doubt it's going to go down early. But if the opportunity shows up and he's able to kill Pharaoh, then Alfonso, unless you actually listen to our critiques and stop trying to set up your damn circuitry and just attack, because you could just get the fucking beast boots that way, there's no reason to ever get greedy. It's just bad. It always ends bad. If he plays, you know, correctly, then obviously Alfonso is gonna take this no matter what. But if he falters like he normally does with at least circuitry, then Jay can pull off a victory. Because, I mean, Jay's a very, very solid battler, so I don't hold anything against him. It's just that there's a damn Pheromosa that he has to deal with, and he doesn't really have too many answers for it. Crobat can check it if it's scarfed, because if you're not, then you're gonna die to an Ice Beam. And, you know, the possibility that it does have Ice Beam, obviously. There's no guarantee that he's gonna run special, but if he does, then Crobat's not living that no matter what. So, I don't know, it's gonna be kind of weird, but I do think because the Pheromosa is such a big threat here, and, like, you have no real clean switches into it, besides Buzzwole, if it happens to be a physical Pheromosa, then it's just not gonna be a fun battle. So I'm gonna give Alfonso the 3-0 victory here, just because Pheromosa is so scary. But if Pharaoh goes down, then I feel like Jay has a much higher chance to win it. So, and those are the previews for Week 6 of Season 7. What match are you looking forward to the most? What match would you like to see live? What match would you like to just you don't care about? Obviously, there's going to be one that's going to be missing for the next couple weeks, but that's fine. Like I said in his preview, I gave him the okay. We talked about it. We're setting things up. It's just what happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. I've been SoresanCrockxen, and I'll see you guys in future videos.